New Year's Eve 2019. For most of Australia, it's a night of fireworks and celebration. But for the small rural town of Cobargo in New South Wales, the sky was already red. The sound wasn't fireworks, it was a roar. The black summer had arrived. A monstrous 100-foot-high wall of fire, creating its own weather system, was bearing down on the town. The official word had come over the radio. The RFS, the Rural Fire Service, was completely overwhelmed. They were stretched too thin. The main highway was cut. The town was cut off. There was no help coming. For most people, the only option was to run, to evacuate. But an ordinary farmer, let's call him John, looked at the approaching flames and then at his neighbors' homes. And he made a different choice. This is the unseen perspective of the Black Summer fires. This is not a story about what was lost. It's a story about what was saved. John didn't have a fire truck. He didn't have a uniform. He had an old yellow 20-ton bulldozer. He climbed in, turned the key, and instead of driving away from the fire, he drove directly towards it. For the next 24 hours, as the apocalypse rained down, John did not stop. While the town huddled in the local showground, he was a lone, soot-covered silhouette fighting a war. He drove that bulldozer straight into the scrub, pushing over burning trees to block the fire's path. He carved massive raw earth scars into the land, creating containment lines, desperate makeshift fire breaks just meters from the flames. The smoke was so thick he could barely see. The heat was so intense it threatened to melt his tires. He was one man in one machine against a fire the size of a city. The fire front hit the town with a fury. It leaped his first containment line. So he made another and another. He worked through the suffocating smoke of the day and into the terrifying red-black of the night. His only light was the glow of the inferno and the headlights of his tractor. When the sun finally rose on New Year's Day, the smoke began to clear. The town was still there, scarred, terrified, and surrounded by a black smoldering wasteland. But it was there, and as the residents emerged, they saw why. Snaking around the perimeter of their homes, between the saved and the incinerated, was a fresh, wide, desperate line of raw earth, the line the fire could not cross. The hero was just a farmer, covered in soot, still in his tractor, who hadn't slept in 24 hours. He had just done the job. He wasn't a superhero, he was a local, and he proved that when the official help can't get through, sometimes the most powerful force in the world is just an ordinary person who knows the land, has the right machine, and refuses to let their town die.